All right, so we know that New York has elected Mamdani, and there's complications with that, and we touched on that in some of the other sections that we've done. Um, Allegedly, there's been car explosions, and this guy's saying that this is the second one that he's seen, at least 2 nights in a row he's seen that. I think this is a video that you sent to me initially. Did you want to preface anything with this?
Oh, no, it was just more of showing that there's some stuff going on in New York right now, and it's very reminiscent of kind of the beginning of a lot of what happened after the occupation, the U.S. occupation of Afghanistan, where we started seeing a lot more explosions and car bombs, stuff like that. So that was kind of the general idea of me sending you this because there was, like you said, the day before, there was a car explosion. I'm not 100% sure if that was just a car that ran into a tree and then the gas tank ignited, like you would see in a movie. Is it that really doesn't happen that often when it comes
Not
to car
really.
wrecks,
No, not really.
um, but the way the explosion occurred for the first video, it didn't really come to me saying, or I did not really see that as a planted device that caused the explosion. That was actually like a Hollywood-esque gas tank exploded. This one though, I'm not sure. So
All
let's see
right,
what he says.
let's see what it is.
Again, I don't know what just happened here, but you know what? 2 nights in a row, two car explosions, just minding my own business, going through the New Jersey tunnel. Take a look at this video, and I'm gonna come back and tell you exactly what I see. I gotta tell you, talking about it, so begin.
So he's referencing a video of himself. I don't really have an issue with that because he also starts off the video like he's saying that this is just his experience and he doesn't know. Fair?
Yep, fair.
Okay.
This again, I don't know if this is coincidence, not a coincidence, but again, another. I don't know if it's a car that's been bombed. This is crazy what's happening over here, but New York City is on fire, and I'm just showing up right now. You guys got to see this. I'm gonna turn around the camera, let you guys see. This is crazy. This car just exploded out of nowhere, and I mean, this is a science tale. I mean, I don't know what's happening here in the city, but this now again, another car goes up in flames out of nowhere. I don't know. I just heard a huge loud explosion.
Okay, so he's referencing a vehicle.
You know, thank God for the
It's on fire. The fire department's there.
another explosion here in New York City. One day.
Okay, that one, the first video that I was referencing is not this one, and it could be the same vehicle from a different perspective. I don't know, but the first one looked like it kind of hit a tree, from what I could tell, because the first one was kind of an aerial view of a guy who was in his apartment and looking down at it. This one is just a parked car on the side of the road. This would insinuate that there is a malicious intent with this one.
I can't think of a way that a
I
car
can,
would spontaneously combust.
well,
It's not
the,
impossible,
the-
but
well, the problem is we don't have enough information. We don't know if this car like rear-ended in one of the other cars. The guy
was it an
like
electric vehicle and the battery malfunctioned?
something like that. Yeah, there's a lot of information we just don't have.
Right.
I mean, if you think about it from an intelligence analyst perspective, one, we don't have enough information, but two, which even looking at it, the fact that it's just parked, because from what I can tell with the still image you have there, is that it's within the parking lines.
Mm-hmm.
So typically, if there was any kind of vehicle that would run into another vehicle, it wouldn't be, exactly parallel or within the lines and, so on and so forth. There's always some kind of angle or whatever else.
Right.
But the fact that it appears to have just been parked on the side of the road and then exploded does kind of allude to the fact that this was done with intent and it was malicious. And
Given the state of the
yeah,
environment, that's completely reasonable, I think.
yeah. Oh, yeah. I was going to say that the likelihood of this occurring again is going to continue to rise, because one thing that is within the playbook that I've taken, this is information I've taken from Afghanistan, is that the more discord that you can sow into an environment, And the more fear you can spread, the easier it is to take control of an area.
Oh, like COVID.
And well, let's separate the like a pandemic from an actual like
Sure.
situation similar to this.
Okay.
But I mean, you're not wrong. I'm just it's
Sure.
doesn't
It's
really
it's not
parallel too much.
it's not a fair scale to apply right now. I agree.
Correct. But so I do suspect that we're going to see more of this type of situation to occur around New York City because they are, whoever they be, well, it's very obvious who they are now because they're just coming out saying it, are trying to basically create an Islamic caliphate inside of New York City. And they are succeeding currently in
Mhm.
that. So this is also creating a situation where the National Guard, if this continues to happen, the National Guard is going to have the authority, or should I should say, be granted the authority to go in and begin to, try to stop this kind of situations from occurring. And we are literally going to have what was occurring in Afghanistan inside the borders of the United States. So this is kind of a prelude in or let's just say a possibility of what we saw in Afghanistan. But I think this is a prelude. I think we're going to begin to see this escalating more and more as they begin to see how effective it is. It's just going to get worse.
Yep.
So,
Wow. I mean, at this point, once it becomes this, it switches to where hard power is needed, and that's where I think justification. Because I mean, I guess that I'm glad up to this point the Insurrection Act hasn't been called, because whenever I'm comparing all of these continually larger pieces hitting the board and the new level of crazy the world is getting to, it's like, oh, okay, maybe it's a good thing that it was saved for this. Maybe pulling it too early was the right call, or maybe not pulling it too early was the right call.
and there is a possibility that Trump is allowing a lot of what is occurring to occur because the people need to see how bad it can get.
People also need to experience it too. And I mean, the going without food
Yeah.
stamps or food, you're going to change your priorities and your. Okay, actually, that's a really good example of something that I didn't include that it fits perfectly right here. You know, if you are on EBT or SNAP benefits and you're trying to argue for, you want the government to take care of things. Well, the government right now is the one not giving you the money to do stuff. So if you give them control of more stuff and then they decide that you don't deserve it, you're going to be up worse of a creek without a paddle.
Yeah. If it is the government that you are dependent upon in order to feed yourself, at any given moment, they can decide to, okay, better way to say it. If you're allowing the government to feed you, then you're giving them permission to starve you as well.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. That's a
So,
simple way to put it. That's effective. Yeah.
yeah. And this is kind of a more external example of if you allow the populace to see how bad things can get before you step in, it creates a twofold situation. One, um, they are able to experience and they now have a frame of reference to understand why Trump is doing what he's doing. And two, Trump gets to swoop in and be the hero.
I
But
want to believe in a story like that, but I also have seen the response to the Epstein files, and that goes back to that question that we had in one of the other segments. Like, do you make the country better and support something like that or defend it? I mean, a juvenile sense of justice would say, absolutely, that's evil. It deserves to be punished. But if you look at a more sensible, I guess maybe not sensible, but not as radical position, you could say, well, if I make all of these adjustments, these millions of lives will get better and they won't experience suffering. So I guess that's compassion covering up a crime. So does that make that, so lawful good would be, oh, you've done a crime, you're going to jail, right?
lawful good would be more, how do I say this? Ensuring that all laws are obeyed to the letter.
Okay, so lawful good, you did crime, you're on the Epstein list, you go prison.
Yeah.
So what is it whenever would that be? Yeah, what is it whenever it's not? Whenever you're using that information to better people's lives? Because I mean, the only lives that you would really ruin would be the people who conducted the crime. They're the only ones that are really going to suffer based on the juvenile approach. But that's ignoring all of the downstream effects, right? If you remove the CEO of companies, all of those employees are going to be affected.
Well, if you're talking about the framework, let me think about this for a sec, of utilizing something for the greater good, but it's not necessarily the right thing to do, that would be chaotic good.
But the right thing to do in the instance, is it right to punish the person on the list, or is it right to use that information to position your country and the lives of millions upon millions of people in a better spot?
The latter there would be chaotic good, because it's more of an ends justify the means situation. And like a chaotic good person doesn't really care about how the good is done, but in the end that it's done. So, I mean, there's an argument to be said maybe it could be neutral good, because you're not necessarily just allowing everything, to happen in whatever way it, is going to occur. But it's more controlled, I guess, would be a more controlled approach, would be neutral good. There's also the lawful neutral. Like, what is it? I think it's lawful neutral, where you go by the letter of the law to the extent that I haven't really thought about lawful neutral in a while.
Mm-hmm.
It's you allow certain things to not be enforced if it's for the overall good, but it still exists within the letter of the law, which we kind of alluding to what I spoke to in the previous segment about how maybe Trump was, or spoke to earlier in this segment, Trump was trying to utilize a plan with the Epstein documents to not immediately cast the entire country or the West into a almost cataclysmic type scenario, because that would reveal to the world who is really in control of the world and what they really believe.
Who's covering up for the Epstein list? What country?
I don't know if I don't know if covering up is the right term. I honestly don't know. I just don't know.
What person attached? I know that I'm going out on a limb on this one, but it's going to tie into a later segment. I'll save it for a later segment. It's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. If you want, but specifically talking, the reason why that Trump hasn't done the Insurrection Act is honestly, from the most probabilistic framework, would be that it's optics. The moment he does that, he will immediately be seen as a tyrant, and he probably does not want to actually do any kind of actual Insurrection Act unless it's one, he gets to a point where he doesn't have a choice, or the country's going to fall apart completely, or two, after the midterms.
Yeah, I mean, whatever is done, if it is going to be done, I think it would be done after the midterms, like you said. It would make more sense.
Yeah, because he's all about pieces on a chessboard, and this is a game of chess that is occurring in the country right now, and the lack of a better or good way to describe it actually would be that they just took one of our rooks when they took New York.
Yeah.
But is it a sacrificial piece so he can take their queen type of situation?
Well, Pelosi quit, so maybe.
That's a good. Well, I wouldn't put.
I'm
put
joking.
her mostly
I'm joking.
More of a bishop than the queen, but
You talking about Big Mike?
I think. Well, technically, I don't know, but would the king be Obama at this point with all the stuff that's coming out? But anyways,
no,
I don't know.
No, I think Obama would be the queen. I think AIPAC would be the king.
That's a good, yeah, actually, I agree with that metaphor.
It seems very, very. We'll cover it in a later section. We'll be getting into an Israel section later, but I don't want to cover that in this one. But yeah, if anybody wants to leave a like, follow, subscribe, leave a comment, let us know what you think. Really appreciate it.